Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to Tornado Close Calls by Swiggle Studios, and this is a channel that I've reacted to a couple times relating to tornado videos. So first, if you're interested in tornado videos and you have an interest in that kind of stuff, this channel is probably the best out there on YouTube right now when it comes to stories around them and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, links will be in the description to this video where you can then find this channel, which, yeah, if you're interested, like I said, you would really enjoy this channel. But we're going to check this out and see, I guess, situations where things could have been a lot worse, because that's the thing with tornadoes, right? A lot of the big like EF5 tornadoes, the most famous ones, have probably hit, I mean, they've hit areas that have a relatively high population, but have any of them been in like major cities? They probably have. I can't really remember, but maybe they went through different areas, or like not straight directly through the cities, because you can almost see, like, if a tornado went in the right in the middle, obviously this probably isn't ever going to happen because of location, but let's just say went directly through Atlanta. I'm trying to think of an area, a city that has pretty consistent tornadoes. So it goes directly through Atlanta. That the loss of life could be in the tens of thousands if we're being real, maybe more. I don't know exactly how many, but yeah, obviously fingers crossed this never happens. But I'm gonna guess this video will go into situations where they could have been a lot worse, even though they were already horrible and terrible events. But yeah, we're gonna check this out. Links are also in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions that I can't post to YouTube. But let's jump into this.
When a tornado drops from the sky, it's never a good situation. I mean, technically, if it's out in the middle of like a field and no one gets hurt, that's actually an amazing situation.
Yeah.
Tornadoes are so beautiful. But 99% of the time, it's a bad situation. People lose lives, property is destroyed, towns and cities are destroyed. It's not good. But there have been many tornado situations that could have been a lot worse. And that's what we're talking about in today's video on Tornado Close Calls. From a tornado dropping less than a mile away from a stadium of 50,000 people to a tornado heading towards a traffic jam. Those are just a few of the 6 tornado close calls that we are talking about today. And we're starting off with number 6, tornado versus nuclear power plant.
Well, this could be number 1 easily.
Now, 2 things that definitely do not mix are nuclear power plants and tornadoes. And on Wednesday, June 24th, 1998, that very thing happened when an F2 tornado struck the Davis-Besse nuclear power station in Oak Harbor, Ohio, some 25 miles east of Toledo. The funnel cloud was spotted by several workers near the cooling tower just before it struck. The damage was pretty minimal, however, the switchyard of the plant was destroyed, and access to outside power was completely cut off at 8:42. This resulted in the reactor of the plant automatically shutting down. At 9:18 p.m., a low-level alert was issued. Until external power could be restored, the plant's emergency diesel generators kept vital facility safety systems running. Fortunately, external power was quickly restored, and a nuclear catastrophe was avoided. After the incident, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission sent a team of experts for an inspection. This was an F2 tornado believed to be about 100 yards wide with winds around 130 miles per hour. It does make one wonder, what if the tornado was an F3 or an F5? What if an F5 tornado that was a mile wide destroyed the backup diesel generators? It's pretty terrifying when you think about it. You know, this scenario would make a great disaster movie. Oh wait, this is the exact plot of the 2002 made-for-TV movie Atomic Twister. Yeah, I watched Atomic Twister, not the best movie ever made. In fact, it was kind of cheesy, pretty bad.
The transformer just got hit by a tornado. And Stu's dead.
But it does make one wonder.
That is one of the worst. God, some filmmakers that have made some horrible films, man. This is the type of thing that has the potential to be such an insane film, but it's just like, it does seem a bit cheesy, doesn't it, to be honest?
Would have happened if a larger and more powerful tornado hit a nuclear power plant. Oh, and by the way, Ohio has had some pretty powerful tornadoes in the past. Wait a second.
See, I was going to ask this, right? I was going to ask, is there certain states where they're just not allowed to be built, maybe because they think the chances of them being, I don't know, hit by a tornado or whatever mean the idea of putting it in that area is probably the stupidest idea in the world. So there's probably like in Tornado Alley and maybe just the south of the US is a lot less. I might be wrong, to be fair, but it makes sense if they specifically didn't put if they just specifically didn't put nuclear power plants in tornado sort of high chance areas, because I mean if they get hit, it's going to cause a lot of problems.
Wait. Oh no.
Oh, there is.
We're moving on to number 5,
Oh, God.
the 2008 Georgia Dome basketball incident.
Here we go. This is going to be fascinating as hell.
This may have been the most important basketball shot ever made. During the second round of the SEC Conference basketball tournament in 2008, Mississippi State was leading Alabama by 3 points. However, in the last seconds of the game, Alabama player Mikel Riley scored a 3-pointer, which tied the game and sent it into overtime. During overtime play, an F2 tornado would hit downtown Atlanta, including the arena where the game was taking place, the Georgia Dome. The exact moment when the tornado hit was with 2 minutes and 11 seconds left in overtime. The moment was captured live on TV.
Damn, must have been loud as hell. You can just see everyone stepping up.
The
getting
players
ready to
scrambled into the locker room as bits of debris fell from the ceiling, and the rafters could clearly be seen swinging from the roof. The tornado passed without further incident. However, if Mikel Riley hadn't made that 3-pointer and sent it into overtime, things could have been a lot worse. This would have resulted in the game being completed shortly before the tornado hit, which would have likely resulted in thousands of people exiting the Georgia Dome on the way to their cars at the exact moment of the tornado. They would have been completely unprotected, and it's likely many would have lost their life. I mean, look at some of the damage in downtown Atlanta. You would not want to be outside in this. Thankfully, Mikel Riley did make that 3-pointer, and it was fortunately just another tornado close call.
That's like the butterfly effect, man. If those people would have been left, who knows what the hell would have happened to them.
Before we get to number 4, a quick word from our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Oof, I recently slipped at work and I
He's
really
getting his
didn't know.
money. Come on, man. Morgan & Morgan getting his money. Let's go.
Thanks, Morgan & Morgan. Number 4, tornadoes versus schools.
Oh, school ones. Oh,
Many of
man.
us in the Midwest remember doing tornado drills in the hallways during our school days. Usually it was just
See, look, you have to prepare for tornadoes, for school shootings. You have to prepare for so many different things. The only test sort of things we had to do in school were for fire alarms. You'd have to do like tests probably once or twice a year, just so you sort of know how it went. But you have to do all these types of things in US schools. God damn, man.
fun time where we got a break from the mundane classroom activities. However, these drills serve as an important exercise as tornadoes have a long history of hitting schools.
Damn.
And there are 2 close call tornado school disasters I want to talk about. First off, let's talk about the 1990 Plainfield, Illinois F5 tornado. At around 3:30 p.m., an F5 tornado struck the Plainfield High School, completely destroying portions of it. Briefly before the tornado hit, the football team quickly ran inside and took shelter in a hallway. Meanwhile, dozens of volleyball players in the gym heard an alarm hit by the dean in the office to take shelter. They too rushed into the same hallway as the football players. Right as the last student exited the gym, the tornado completely destroyed the gym.
Look at that. Imagine being in the school with that happening, man. Fuck that. That is horrible.
In fact, the only portion of the entire school that survived was the hallway that the students were taking shelter in. What if the dean hadn't hit the alarm? What if the tornado had hit an hour earlier when school was still in session? Unfortunately, 3 faculty members in the school would lose their lives, but the situation could have been much worse. The second close call school disaster I want to mention is Joplin. The 2011 Joplin EF5 tornado was the worst U.S. tornado disaster since the 50s, resulting in 158 fatalities.
Look at that,
2 schools were completely destroyed by the
Look at all this flipping damage. Holy shit.
tornado. Joplin High School and Joplin Middle School. The security footage is well known and has been seen millions of times. Thankfully, no one was in either of these schools at the time, as it was a Sunday and the graduation ceremony had already finished. But what if it had happened during the school week? What if it was earlier in the year? The Joplin tornado was a tragic natural disaster, and obviously it wasn't a close call. It was a direct hit of a major populated area, but thankfully there were many miracles from that day that saved hundreds of lives, and it's still good to remember those miracles as well. Number 3, tornado versus cyclones.
What? Is this a real
There is
picture?
a D1 university in Ames, Iowa known as Iowa State, and their athletic teams are known as the Cyclones. They're literally named after tornadoes. In fact, they actually got that nickname in 1895 after they defeated Northwestern in a football match. A Chicago Tribune's headline read, "Struck by a cyclone." If you're a big tornado fan like me, then I think you'd really enjoy the Iowa State Cyclones football intro. It's actually pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. It's got the sounds and everything.
If that was your first time going to that game, you'd probably shit yourself.
Although I feel like if you're a big Oklahoma fan and the Iowa State Cyclones come showing up, it's like, really? We get way more tornadoes than you guys. Anyway, ironically enough, on November 12th, 2005, an F2 tornado came within only a mile of their football stadium, Jack Trice. This was while 50,000 people were gathered for a football game. Iowa State was getting ready to
And it's an open stadium as well.
face off at number 22, Colorado, when the stadium had to be evacuated as the tornado sirens went off. Just northwest of the stadium, an F2 tornado lowered from the clouds. Thankfully, this occurred to the northwest of the stadium. Iowa State spokesman John McCarroll said, "We dodged a bullet with the track of that storm." And there's actually footage of this tornado that was captured on the Iowa State campus. So it truly wasn't that far away.
Wow.
This was all part of a rare mid-November tornado outbreak that hit central Iowa. The largest of these tornadoes was an F3 that hit the community of Woodward. Think if that F3 would have hit the stadium. I mean, an F2 would have been bad, an F3 would have been a disaster.
Why are you just outside recording this, man? Look at that.
And anything more would have probably killed thousands of people. There are actually a lot of stadiums that are in tornado-prone areas. Think of the SEC. I mean, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, a tornado came this close to their stadium. Kind of scary. Number 2, the 1995 Texas prison tornado close call.
Texas prison? God, we got all kinds of things.
On June 8th, 1995, a tornado outbreak occurred over the Texas Panhandle, resulting in 30 tornadoes. A few of these tornadoes are quite notable. One F4 struck the western side of Pampa, Texas, and destroyed over 250 businesses and homes. The tornado was well documented, and several videos can easily be found on YouTube. Another F4 tornado that struck near Kellerville was initially rated an F5. However, it was later downgraded after further surveying. And while I could do a whole video on this outbreak, today we are only talking about a specific F2 tornado that dropped down just northeast of Pampa. This particular tornado thankfully took 0 lives and stayed out in open country. However, it came very, very close to hitting the Jordan Unit prison. The close call was captured by Martin Lysius, and a video can be seen here on YouTube. Now don't let the
If that went through the prison, oh my god, that is... Talk about close calls. The whole prison would have been absolutely ripped to shreds. An F5. I mean, any tornado, but an F5.
F2 rating fool you. The only reason why this tornado had such a low rating was due to the lack of damage available for surveying. It's likely that if this tornado hit buildings and caused damage, it would have been rated an F4 or higher. Fortunately, prisons by nature are high security buildings typically made with strong materials, such as steel and concrete. However, that doesn't mean tornadoes haven't damaged prisons in the past. In fact, just recently during the March 3rd, 2020 Nashville EF3 tornado, the historic Tennessee State Prison took heavy damage. This is the same prison where the Green Mile was filmed.
Dead man! Dead man walking! We got a dead man walking here!
Fortunately, this prison has officially been closed since 1992, so no inmates were present at the time. A couple weeks later, on March 18th, a weaker F2 tornado hit 2 prisons in Abilene, Texas. Prisons, like schools, have very large footprints, and this makes them big targets for tornadoes. And the number 1 close call on our list, the massive 2013 El Reno tornado. This particular tornado, I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. It is notable for being one of the largest, if not the largest, tornadoes ever recorded. This massive monster was 2.6 miles wide and also featured
I can't comprehend that. A flipping tornado this flipping wide. That doesn't even make sense. How? What the
Featured
fuck?
wind speeds of 296 miles per hour, making it arguably not only the largest tornado of all time, but also the most powerful tornado of all time. It formed on May 31st, 2013, just west of El Reno, Oklahoma. Its path initially went southeast before rotating north and dissipating. And look, you can even see the tornado scar from space. You might be wondering,
Damn.
okay Jake, how is this even a close call? Well, fortunately, this massive tornado occurred over open country and only managed to destroy a few buildings. This is the reason why it was given an EF3 rating. There just wasn't enough destruction to rate it higher. Okay, now let's zoom out. Here's the path of the tornado, and here is Oklahoma City.
I was literally thinking this. The path would have literally, let's just say it was to the right. It would have went right through the heart of the city. Imagine the chaos. Oh my god, man. I don't know how many people live in Oklahoma City, but I'm assuming it's a few 100,000. Jesus, man. That is ridiculous.
A major metropolitan area with a population of 700,000. So
There
you have
we
the
go.
largest and most powerful tornado ever recorded, dodging not only El Reno, which would have been also a disaster, but also a densely populated city. Look how close these homes are together.
Oh my god.
This is how wide 2.6 miles is. A 2.6 mile wide tornado with 300 mile per hour winds going through this city would have killed thousands of people. On top of that, this tornado occurred during rush hour, so there's literally traffic jams throughout the city, and in case you are unaware, cars and tornadoes don't mix. Unfortunately, there were still 8 fatalities, including 3 professional storm chasers, the TwistX team, as well as 1 amateur storm chaser. This tornado was so large that many storm chasers didn't realize they were literally inside of it, and while 4 would lose their lives, many others would suffer major injuries.
Fuck, man. Yeah, man. Brutal as hell. Yeah, this guy's channel is class. I mean, I'm assuming if you're, again, you're a tornado fiend, you find the stuff interesting, you're going to love this channel. But, man, just to think of how much damage would have been caused if some of these just went a bit differently and all that kind of stuff. But thank God they haven't, and thank God they didn't, because that would just be a scary ass thing to even think about. But your videos for my tornado shaped hole in my life. I love watching these tornado deep dives analysis. Yeah, they're interesting, man. Again, I don't live in a country where this stuff happens at all, so it's all like, I'm not gonna say new to me because I've been doing these reactions for so long, but I've never even experienced a tornado, seen one in person. Thank God, and I hope I never do. But god damn, man, it's a brutal world out there. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction, and yeah, until next time, subscribe.